So the presentation is looking good, I think, Carrie. So we might just get started then. Yeah, well, kia ora koutou. It's lovely to connect with you all virtually today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from one of our Auckland summer clerks, Laura, on the panel. We're really excited to chat to you all about Buddle Findlay, what we're about, what our summer clerk program looks like, how to navigate your recruitment journey, and provide you with some tips throughout this whole process. For some of you, you may have been applying for firms over the past couple months. While our applications are closed for now, for this year, we hope that this session is valuable and will help you when applying for roles next year, and just answer any questions that you might have. So, next slide. Ko Lily Toku Ingoa. I work in the people and culture team at Buddle Findlay in our Auckland office. I am largely involved with our grad recruitment process, and I'm just really excited to be here today to chat to you about Buddle. And I'll hand over to Harry to introduce himself too.
Cool, thanks Lily, and kia ora everyone. As Lily said, I'm Harry. I'm also from our people and culture team in the Auckland office, and I look after recruitment for the firm more broadly with a focus on our employer branding as well as grad recruitment. I too am really excited to chat to you today about Buddle Findlay and the legal sector. We know that you've taken time out of your day to join us today in this presentation, and so I hope the insights that we share as well as the insights that Laura shared earlier in the panel session will inspire you to forge ahead with your legal career, and of course to apply for our summer clerk program next year. I'll just plug that in there. I'll be talking to you today about who we are as a firm briefly and give you a few tips on how to navigate your entry into the legal sector. So kicking off with a bit about Buddle Findlay. We're a national full-service law firm that focuses on commercial and public law in New Zealand. We've got a long-standing history, so we've been operating for about 125 years now, and a career with us gives you the opportunity to work with a wide range of clients within internationally recognized teams alongside some of New Zealand's leading legal talent. We have a culture of mentoring and support, so you'll be given all the tools you need to grow and succeed in your career at Buddle Findlay. What does it mean to be a commercial law firm? You might have heard that in a previous session, a little bit about what that means, but for us, it definitely refers to the type of work we do and the types of clients that we work with, which is essentially businesses and government and regulators and those kinds of entities, as opposed to individuals. The opposite of a commercial law firm would be something like a general practice law firm, which can do a bit of everything for individual clients, like buying and selling of property or drawing up trusts and wills and that kind of thing. Whereas we specialize in niche areas of corporate and commercial law. This does sound quite serious and corporate by nature, but we make sure that our work helps to shape the future of Aotearoa in a meaningful way. A bit about our makeup as a firm. Our entire team is made up of 348 staff across the 3 offices that we have. That makes us the 4th largest law firm in New Zealand by head count. 220 of the 348 are lawyers and the rest are business support staff. Our partnership is made up of 47. 30% of those are female partners, and since 2016, more than 2/3 of our partnership promotions have been female as well. Our staff complement is quite diverse, and although it's something we constantly strive to improve, we have now 10 different nationalities and ethnicities in our staff complement. A few of the legal areas that we specialize in are things like corporate and commercial law, technology law, dispute resolution, that would be litigation on insurance and construction and contract disputes, resource management law, like land consenting applications, or employment law, which is advising companies on restructuring or performance management and the like. We also do a fair bit of public law and a lot of Our staff that do that sits in Wellington, and we also do some work on Māori legal issues, which is a growing area for us, mostly in Wellington at the moment, but we will advise on things like land issues and marine and coastal applications and Treaty of Waitangi matters as well. If you'd like to ask any questions on any of this stuff, please feel free to pop that in the chat and we'll answer towards the end. So what are our recruitment goals at Buddle Findlay? Well, it's to attract a diverse group of students for our summer Clarke program, of course. Many of our existing partners joined our summer Clarke program at the firm. They might have stayed at the firm or have gone overseas and returned back to New Zealand, and they've rejoined Buddle Findlay to go on and become partner. We also aim to identify the best candidates through our campaign, Together We Grow, and we aim to connect with candidates who share our values in that respect. We also aim to get to know you personally. And so in our application process, we would ask you a set of open-ended questions to get to know the real you. And at Buddle Findlay, we believe that grades do not define you. Instead, we use a values-based quiz as part of our application as the first screening tool, which helps us understand how you think and operate. The last goal that we have is increasing our brand awareness and building on our employer brand, which is by connecting with students and people just like you. So something extra is, what does diversity and inclusion look like at Buddle Findlay? Well, we want our people to feel genuinely respected, valued, and supported to grow their careers at Buddle Findlay. People are free to bring their whole selves to work. So we have a number of initiatives on the go. Some are projects and others are just part of our culture. And it's a key focus for us. So one of those initiatives is that we've recently introduced a cultural capabilities framework, which is a long-term strategic plan for Māori. The Cultural Capabilities Working Group is led by 2 solicitors in our Wellington office and have already begun mahi in learning and development, including tikanga Māori, te ao Māori, and te reo Māori education, leadership, accountability, recruitment, retention, and progression and engagement, which is really the full sort of life cycle of your experience at Buddle Findlay. Other initiatives that are quite specific is things like te reo lessons that's happening across all of our offices. And we have a waiata group that allows us to learn waiata for specific events. One that happened recently was the office blessing for 2 partners that were recently promoted. That's Mere King and Hamish Selby. So that was pretty cool. We have a full year education program on tikanga for our litigation teams that are attending court. And we celebrate Māori Language Week and Matariki and commemorating Waitangi Day and those kinds of things as well. We have a few specific opportunities for Māori staff that we offer. One is a cadetship that offers $10,000 to Māori staff members to assist with their professional development. We have our first group of people considering how they'll use this opportunity right now. We also pay for staff to join the Māori Law Society as well. In the Pacific space, we have Kelly Williams, who is a senior associate in our Auckland office, who is a dedicated member of the Pacific Lawyers Association executive. And their association offers help to Pacific students with applying for grad or law clerking roles. By running webinars and mentorship initiatives and working on various issues to promote change in the profession. At the moment, they're doing the rounds with a survey on profiling Pacific lawyers in court and submissions on various law reform for the PLA. If you'd like to chat with Kelly about the initiatives that we run or anything related to law and Pacific students, then Kelly is more than happy to have a chat with you. Just let us know. We plan at Buddle Findlay to have mentoring and buddy systems that link directly with Pacific students within the firm for any Pacific law clerks that join us. And the importance of this is so that you would feel comfortable and you'd be able to speak freely about how you're feeling and any issues that you have once you're entering the career and entering the law firm. That's something in the pipeline. And another initiative that we run is we work with Student 360, which is an organization that helps Māori and Pacific students secure employment in the legal sector. Last year, we hosted 4 Pacific students for a week paid internship as part of our long-term goals to break down the ordinary barriers that prevent people from accessing corporate law genuinely. We are continuing to do this again in our Auckland and Wellington offices, which we are very much looking forward to. I will now hand back over to Lily to chat to you more about our Summer Clarke program.
Fabulous, thanks Harry. So when students join us for our Summer Clarke program, they are employed with us for the summer at the end of their uni year. So students would commence employment with us from mid-November through to mid-February, and then return back to uni for their final year of study. You'll have the opportunity to rotate into 2 different teams while you're here as a summer clerk, and then another 2 teams as a law clerk to develop a broader understanding of corporate law. You'll gain real life experiences of working in a law firm and get involved with client-facing work. You'll learn alongside experts in the field and given all the tools to grow and succeed to hit the ground running when you return back as a law clerk. We understand that studying law and working in law is very different. So you'll get amongst lots of training sessions and have the support from others at the firm. You'll have a buddy and a supervisor, as well as the rest of your team for support. On your first day, you'll commence an induction, which Laura touched on briefly, which consists of week-long training. We'll get you up to speed with the technology that we use, introduce you to our different areas of law, and you'll hear from a number of different people from around the firm. During the summer, you will also take part in our Summer Clarke Academy, which I'll elaborate on a little bit later. But again, just lots of training, support, and development opportunities. I encourage you to visit our website, which has more information on our Summer Clarke program. You'll also see what other perks you get if you work with us, like 3 weeks paid holiday leave, $1,000 clothing allowance, and when you return as a law clerk, your professional studies paid for, amongst many other things. Change the slide now, Harry, thank you. At Buddle Findlay, we offer 3 promises to you, that being a place for you to grow, connect, and be yourself. These promises are on our website, which I encourage you to check them out. But for those who haven't been able to read them, I'll briefly explain. Our promise is to provide you with a collaborative and supportive environment that will develop and enrich you. You'll get to enjoy building strong connections with our people, clients, and community. And at Buddle Findlay, you can be your true and authentic self. We are a firm who hold diverse perspectives and welcome everyone, whatever your walk of life.
Cool. Thanks for that, Lily. I'm now taking over again to chat about finding the right fit for you and what the different career paths as a law graduate can be. So my top 3 tips would be doing your research, getting to know people, and staying true to yourself. I guess, you know, as a law student or law graduate, you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for the right fit that allows you to be yourself and thrive in that environment. This is crucial because the right environment will allow you to grow and develop your career, right? So choosing the right job, and let alone a career path, probably feels like a huge decision while you are studying. It is definitely important to give it ample consideration, but it isn't the be all and end all. If it's not clear in your mind right now what exactly would be your preferred career path, if you feel like you'd like to try different things, then that's absolutely fine. So what are the different career paths available to somebody studying law or thinking about studying law? I'll go through a couple of those quickly. One would be a solicitor or a lawyer in private practice at a firm like Buddle Findlay, for example. You could go down the barristerial route as an advocate, if that's something that you're interested in. You could work in-house as a legal counsel, although that might require some experience, but not necessarily always. You would be able to work in policy advisory for government agencies or financial regulators, as an example. You could also go the prosecution route and work at the courts. You could be a solicitor for the Crown, and there are a couple of firms that specialize in doing that. And if you have a conjoint degree, you might be able to go down that road and return back to law later on once you've gained some experience. So there are many ways that you can use your degree and build your career. If you find that you just aren't sure about, what steps you'd like to take, then that's totally okay. My advice would be that you pursue something that plays to your interests and your strengths and aligns with your values. Going back to my tip of doing your research, I would say it's important to reflect on those things that are of interest to you and align that to your career aspirations. Talk to people in the profession who can share stories about their journey, which will provide you some inspiration on what others have done and how that could be reflected in your own situation. It can be hard to differentiate between different law firms, government agencies, and the courts and barristers, and what all of these things mean for your career. So you get a bit of a head start by doing this research and speaking to people up front. I would say definitely consider all available opportunities that are out there and analyze them, and then decide on which ones you think are a good fit for you. I think it's also important to think about why you might be interested in a specific area. So if it's a firm like Buddle Findlay you're interested in, we do commercial law. What is it about commercial law that you're interested in? And just take the time to reflect on what that means for you. But just remain open-minded. You never know who you come across and who you could meet and how you could land up in a specific career path. So that would be a couple of my tips on doing your research. I would also say getting to know people is really important. As the saying goes, people do business with people, and in the legal industry, you're dealing with people all the time. So during the early part of your journey, definitely take the opportunities to meet people that you that work maybe at the organizations you're thinking of joining. Speak to them to get a feel for the organization and for what their journey has been like and what the culture of the organization is. Examples of those kinds of opportunities could be recruitment events. It could be open days or sponsored events, or sessions just like these ones. I guess if you really had to think about it, I'm sure you would maybe know somebody who knows somebody that's in the legal sector that could hook you up with a coffee if you needed to. Another tip is to keep in contact with the connections that you make. So, if you meet somebody at a seminar or an event, pop them a LinkedIn message afterwards or send them an email and just say, hey, it was good to meet you, and just keep those connections open. But I reckon most importantly is to just be yourself. People gravitate towards authenticity. In terms of getting to know Buddle Findlay, you can get to know us in all the ways that I've already discussed. And you can just, reach out to Lily and I as well at any time. The last tip is staying true to yourself. So remember, there is no set path that you need to take in your career. It's unique to you. What firms really want to hear is about the real you, and they'd like to know your story and what steps have you taken to get to the point that you've applied, to work at their firm. What is your background and your culture like? You don't really need to tweak or over-engineer your story or make it sound more commercial or anything of the sort. Literally just tell your story in an authentic way, and that will really give you a good footing in your process on embarking on your career. Reflect on all of the information you've gathered in your research, and consider how those opportunities and those companies and firms, how their values align to yours. I think that's really important as well. Focus your energy on those places that you're genuinely interested in working at. And like Laura said, if you attended that session earlier on, just be yourself and back yourself and apply for those roles that really stand out to you. The application process generally includes using your CV and your cover letter And it's an opportunity to show on paper what makes you unique. So that's the point where you can use, your written language to show your true self. You don't have to over-engineer it. It doesn't have to be more than one page. You just need to capture the essence of who you are and what you're interested in and why you're applying for that position. During the interview process, you then can bring, the real you to the table, which will align to your CV and cover letter, and that will definitely get the firm's attention. Get to know us by chatting to us after the presentation. If you have any questions or thoughts, we're happy to answer. Read up about us on our website. You can follow our Instagram page and our LinkedIn group as well. Attend our open days. We've already had one open day, but I believe we've got another one coming up at some point in the year, which we're very excited for. And that one will be in person and not virtual. So we are super excited for that one. We've got an expression of interest quiz on our careers page. So visit that and play around with the quiz to get a feel for the kinds of things we're looking for and how that might align to your values. And yeah, you can apply for any positions through that page as well. Some tips on the interview process quickly. If you do get invited for an interview, whether that's us or somewhere else, definitely do your preparation by doing research on who you'll be meeting. You'll probably know that beforehand, and that'll be really useful when entering into that conversation. Know your CV well. This will help you to answer any questions that come your way during the interview. So make sure you know that. And I would say another tip is mastering the question, tell me about yourself. How long should that answer be? I normally say 3 to 5 minutes, touching on a variety of things in your background, like your school experiences or any extracurriculars you've been involved in, your academics, what you are interested in, and what you think your career interests are. Your personal background, your culture, and your personal interests should definitely feature in that as well. So 3 to 5 minutes would be a good answer for that question. I guess an interview is a two-way street, so you're being asked questions, but you are also able to ask questions to your interviewers. But overall, it's really a good opportunity for them just to get to know who you are. So use life experiences and examples to talk about your story when answering questions in an interview setting. For us at Buddle Findlay, what is really important to us is we want to work with people who are collaborative by nature, who are authentic, highly motivated, curious, and innovative. And you can show these values in your application and in an interview, whether using, school or university examples, or if you've had any part-time work, you'd be able to find examples where you've displayed those sort of values and characteristics. That's enough from me. Again, I will hand back over to Lily to chat more about our Summer Clarke program timeline.
Cool. Thanks, Harry. On a side note, I am conscious of time.
Yep.
However, I'm hoping you don't mind, Sam, as we're the last presentation. Cool. So yeah, applications for our Summer Clarke program for this year have closed, but we strongly encourage you to apply for next year's Summer Clarke program when they open early March next year. Although this may seem like a long time away, it will allow for you to get to know us and see whether we'd be a right fit for one another. We will be hosting an open day later this year, and the date is yet to be confirmed. As Harry mentioned before, you'll have the opportunity to have a look around our offices, hear from some partners and junior lawyers. You'll also be able to find out more about what is important to us at the firm and what we're looking for. And then by March next year, hopefully you'll have a wealth of knowledge of Buddle Findlay and discover whether it's a place that you'd want to work for. So please stay posted on our social media channels and website and all that for more information on our open day later this year. As I mentioned earlier, something I wanted to chat to you about is our Summer Clarke Academy, which is a rather unique program than what we do, than what other firms do. So essentially, this is to be completed over the 12 weeks or so that you're here at the end of the summer, and after completing the program, you unofficially graduate. The context of the academy falls broadly into 3 categories, that being practical skills, the business of a law firm, and client service. The components involved, what we did last year at least, included 13 webinar, seminar-like things, roughly once a week, where you would hear from someone in the firm about a specific topic. Example of these practical sessions included more generic stuff like reviewing a contract, writing skills, anatomy of an M&A transaction, and then some other sessions which are a little different but just as important, like Buddle Findlay Jargon Buster, where we'd simply just have some junior lawyers breaking down all the confusing law terminology and acronyms, and then another example of one being just Summer Clarke 101. Another component of the academy is picking up a task from another team outside of your current rotation, which sparks your interest. Another component is preparing a paper on the topic relevant to the business of Buddle Findlay. And then lastly, experiences like attending court, client visits, but with COVID last year, these unfortunately didn't go ahead, but we will do so this year, hopefully. So yeah, that was a bit of a summary on that. Hopefully that is of interest to you and helps to illustrate, just the level of training and development opportunities that we have for our summer clerks. Cool. And then, yeah, the key dates for this year's recruitment are shown on the screen. So we'd follow something very similar to this for next year, if that is useful for you to see that. So our applications typically open in March. Interviews commence in May. Offers are also made in May, later in the month, and then you'd start as a law clerk in November that year after university has broken up for the summer. Cool. Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time to hear about Buddle Findlay. I hope you found this session valuable and has inspired you to want to apply for our summer clerk program. If you have any questions, yeah, just chuck them in the chat bar. Alternatively, you can chat to us offline. Harry and I will be happy to chat to you about anything if you want to flick us an email or give us a ring. But yeah, thanks so much. Ka pai te rā.
Thanks, everyone.